Hi Taurus, I hope you guys are doing great today. So not sure if you guys saw that I posted a new moon video. Really kind of covers the beginning of October just because there is so much to talk about. The new moon is on October 6th and it's definitely one of the more challenging, more profound moon phases that I can remember. And it has a lot to do with Mars and Uranus and a couple of fixed stars and a couple of asteroids and Uranus, everybody kind of together, creating this sort of fork in the road kind of energy that we're all going to be feeling. And there's going to be a lot of pressure to move forward, a lot of very sort of Mars type of energy. Now, where are you guys going to be feeling it? As I mentioned in the video, it's primarily going to be between, the tension's going to be very much between your 6th house and your 1st house. So that 6th house has to do with your day-to-day work environment, your boss, your employees, your work, your just the environment of your day-to-day as well. It covers your mental, physical, and emotional health, and it also covers your animals. Okay, so there could be some sort of tension going on between, because Uranus is sitting in your 1st house of self, of how you meet life, of the impression that people have of you, right, when they meet you. So there's something very very marked about how you're presenting to the world, and people are actually noticing this. So we're going to pull cards on that. I'm not really going to go much beyond that. I'm going to just work in a couple of pieces of astrology that I think would be relevant to the spread, but there's just too much to cover for the astrology for me to work it in with the tarot in a reading where I won't end up losing you guys. You know what I mean? But I do want to mention that Venus is entering Sagittarius this week. It's moving from Scorpio into Sag, so it's going into your 8th house. So Venus and Sagittarius in the 8th house, there's going to be a lot of focus on cycles, on relationships, on you and other. The 8th house covers how you show up as a we in relationship. It also covers money coming to you from other people. So it could either be your partner's money, it could be inheritance, an insurance payout, a lawsuit settling up, anything having to do with the stock market, any sort of investment that you've made with another person. That's where it can be a money house, but it can also be a relationship house as well. And when I say how you show up as a we, it's how you blend resources, yes, but also communication, intimacy, value systems, and all of that. And there's going to be this sort of this energy that's going to have you looking at how well in alignment are not only your relationships with what matters to you, but just generally the way that you are living life, right? Because that Venus Sagittarius is going to be sitting opposite that 2nd house placement for you, right? Which is Gemini in the North Node for you in that 2nd house for you, Taurus, and that's where some sort of gift is coming in. So it does look like something positive is going to be happening to you, having to do with cycles regarding money coming in, something having to do with a partner, something having to do with other, and it's going to end up being a very positive manifestation for you. I do feel like it's going to end up being that. But that Uranus in the 1st house, look, it's sitting opposite that 7th house of relationships, and it's in conjunct that 6th house, which is where the Sun, Mars, Moon, and Mercury retrograde are. Now that Sun and Mars is Cazimi, so Mars is going to be like sitting in the Sun at a certain point this week. So that's very beneficial. You're going to be very amped up to really do something having to do with your career or having to do with your health. Really, really amped up. But with the Sun, the moon's going to be combust with the Sun. So there can be this sort of weakening of your ability to see what doesn't work in your life, where your emotions are not aligning. So that could be a little bit of a tricky energy. And I feel like that would be happening anyway, just because Mercury is retrograde in that house, really until like the 3rd week of October, really until the beginning of November, by the time post shadow, leaves. But, so it's kind of like the lay of the land here, still a lot of healing going on in your subconscious mind. We have that Aries Chiron's energy there for sure. Lots of confusion about like your 5-year plan, your 10-year plan, maybe a little bit of confusion about the people that you're dealing with, maybe some confusion regarding the money, the salary that you bring in, your goals and gains, right? Because you have that Pisces Neptune energy still hanging out in your 11th house. But that 10th house having a career, you definitely feel your Jupiter at 22 degrees, you feel yourself growing, That's what's very interesting. You feel it. And honestly, this is very beautifully and a beautiful sextile to your 8th house, which is where Venus is going to be hanging out, and that's money energy. So I feel like good things are coming up for sure, having to do with your career, but you still have this element of confusion. Now, Pluto, which is hanging out in Capricorn in your 9th house, of launching, of publication, of advertising, marketing, your belief system, higher education, foreign land, foreign travel, your in-laws, all 9th house stuff. You have Pluto in there, currently retrograde, coming out of retrograde this week. So Pluto, and this is the thing. I mean, it stations direct about 7 hours after the new moon. So, you know, and Pluto is the planet of death and birth, and it's all about reincarnation and restructuring things. And Saturn is the planet of karma, and that stations direct 4 days after the new moon on October 10th. So there can be some sort of energy where it's like, if you feel like you've been getting like dissed in, dissed is such a silly word, but that, you know, where somebody has been wronging you, having to do with anything, your in-laws, any sort of negotiation, anything like that, anything within 9th house, you're not going to be able to not see it. You're just not going to be able to not see it. It's really important for you to just understand that, right? Yeah, I mean, it's that Capricorn. I mean, I don't want to get really too heavy into the Capricorn energy, only because it's going to be like for next week. But that is, you know, that Saturn is the ruler of that Capricorn energy. So how could we not feel that move to, you know, to sort of reconcile something? And just the fact that the planet Pluto is going to be going direct. But let's move on. Let's pull the cards. Let's see what's going on here. We've got Pluto and Saturn both. Saturn is sitting right in that 10th house for you in Aquarius. But it has that strong connection to Capricorn because it rules Capricorn. So it's really going to be speaking to when Pluto actually goes direct. So a lot about belief system. Okay, and that really can affect any part of your life, right? And having to do with relationship, job, whatever. So we have Page of Pentacles coming into this. Yeah, so definitely a new cycle energy for sure. Pentacles can indicate a new job, or at least thinking about a new job. This is talents shining. This could be progress, some sort of auspicious beginning regarding finances, business, or this could even be an offer made on a property for those of you in that space, or some sort of situation going on within your education. For others of you, this could actually indicate you meeting a new mental, physical, or emotional connection in the recent past. Definitely pay attention to the finances. A lot of unexpected bills or situations might have come up recently, and now it's okay. It's just time to pull back a little bit, focus on working hard and just you know, trying to just you know, if there was a lot of payout, trying to replenish that, right? A lot of focus on that. You know, Taurus, yeah, I'm not surprised at this. High Priestess energy and where you're at right now. I am feeling this very strongly in the Pisces, in the Taurian energy as well. This idea of secrets, and not malicious secrets, but you have a lot going on. Well, I guess we all do, right? It's almost silly. We all have a lot going on at all times, right? Between our ears and behind our eyes. But I feel like there's something very specific that's on your mind, where you're involved in something and you truly don't know if it's the right thing for you. That job, that relationship, that friendship situation, it could be several things, where you might be in this space where you're like, I'm really not sure if this is the right thing for me. And it has everything to do with the fact that Uranus is 13 degrees in your first house of self, you know? So Uranus is about change, and it's about thinking about the future. And you're not only thinking about, you're thinking very globally, you know, about your future, and how are you going to approach it, and who's going to be involved in it, and all of that. These are big existential questions, but you may not be talking about it. As the High Priestess is connected to the moon, and the moon is our emotions, and it's what we're keeping under wraps. So you may be in this space where you're feeling a lot of things, I mean, very specifically, you know, possibly all day, every day, but you're really not talking to anybody about it. And what is your challenge here is the Nine of Cups, which is your happiness and wishes manifesting. feeling very connected to your own heart. I feel like for a lot of you, Taurus, you feel like you're involved in something that might be pretty good. It might be fabulous, in fact, but there's something about it that either you're doubting your ability to, you're doubting if any happiness that you're feeling right now is actually real enough to be sustained over the long term. Are you trying to talk yourself into being happy? Trying to convince yourself of something? But it's like energetically, we can't fool ourselves, right? If there's something that you're not feeling connected to, and you're questioning whether you're going to be able to grow in it. We have the basis of the situation here as a Six of Swords. The basis is, really kind of wanting to, could be just mentally right now, maybe not physically just yet, moving on from something and detaching from something that doesn't feel right, or you're at least thinking about taking a break from something to allow yourself some space to do some internal work. So some of you may be in this space where it's like, okay, I know whatever I'm doing right now is not really what I'm going to be doing over the long term, but I would be biting my nose off to spite my face if I ended it now, whether it's a relationship, job, family situation, whatever. And this is not to be self-serving. This is to sort of not bite your nose off to spite your face, right? It's to say, okay, I need to think about things, because you're still thinking in that High Priestess energy. You're trying to find wisdom. To move forward in a way that's best, not only good for you, but good for the situation. Right? Now we have the Page of Wands. Page of Wands is right now currently where you're at, and Page it means a new cycle, and Wands are will, it's passion, it's motivation. You're in this space where you very much want to express yourself. Now this could indicate good news about a project coming in, any project that requires negotiation. This does indicate a really busy time at work. This could also bring in a new offer for some of you, maybe a new offer on a project or a new job offer. This can bring something new in, but this is the thing. Could even bring a new relationship, right? Because Page of Wands could also indicate that. Something that's going to speak to your passionate side. But what I feel like is a lot of you are going to be offered something, and it's like, I always say, like, the status or the glitter or the glam or the wow of whatever is being offered to you may not be really what it is that you are really wanting. It's still going to appeal to you in theory. You may still become part of something, take that job, get into that relationship, maybe stay in the relationship that you and a partner are trying to work on, but you know that something isn't really what it is that you're looking for, but it still has good elements to it. So you're not looking to cut and run at this point, but you're definitely starting this new phase in your life. You feel that, and a lot of you, again, you just sort of might be figuring things out right now, which is a smart thing to do, especially with Uranus retrograde in your first house. Uranus is going to be retrograde in that first until the middle of January. So honestly, I know that seems like forever away, but I wouldn't make any big sweeping changes between now and then. I'm not talking about don't take a new job or whatever. I'm talking about big sweeping changes like I want a divorce, or I want to leave this career altogether, or I want to move to a different country or something like that. Try to hold off on that until Uranus goes direct in January, and then sort of reassess, because by that point everybody will have gone direct. All these outer planets will be direct, and you're going to have a much cleaner and clearer picture of things, even though things are going to be a little wonky because of other things going on, but at least in that area it'll be pretty much clear. So then we have the Seven of Swords energy. Now the Seven of Swords energy is what Spirit is telling you to look at. Okay, listen, Taurus, who is not being very honest here? Now this doesn't have to be you. You may be vibing that somebody that you're dealing with is not being completely open and forthcoming with you. Somebody might be running away from the responsibilities of a situation. Somebody might be overstepping their boundaries, or you might be dealing with somebody who's very selfish. But I don't even feel like you're really having the conversation about it right now. You might not even be having the conversation, but Spirit is like, oh, pay attention, pay attention. Moon in Aquarius, Moon is emotions. Aquarius is different than what I'm showing you. So there might be something, that's not aligning. Now, this could certainly be you, and Spirit could be saying everything that I've been saying here. It's like you're part of something that you feel like you're not sure if you're going to be happy in the long term. You have to pay attention to that, right? It's being really, really honest with yourself. It does seem like somebody external to you or some sort of external situation is trying to find balance. With the Temperance energy is in the spot here of representing otherness, so this is not you. Now, this could have, because in numerology this is linked to the Hierophant, this could be a marriage partner really trying to settle things up with you, but you still might feel like something's missing. Like they might be in it, but are they in it in the way that's going to make you happy, kind of thing? There's always that to look at. But Temperance is this really beautiful desire to reconcile, to heal, to have this new level of patience, of trust, of cooperation after a difficult time period, right? Really wanting things to be nice. So I feel like you may be dealing with somebody who kind of wants peace in the situation, and it's not that you don't want peace. You see, that might be why you're not actually being more vocal, because I just feel like you're not really disclosing something here. So what is your internal psychological challenge? Is the Sun. I mean, and this is, so success is difficult for you right now. You're feeling like this is a challenge. Good health, feeling really good about where you are. This is a challenge for you right now. Feeling capable and able and really on board, fully 100% willing to build that beautiful connection with that person, right? Or even feeling like you have all the tools in your toolbox to even make that happen. You may be in the space where it's like, I would really like to not feel like this, but I don't know how to not feel like this. And you can't, right? So that could certainly be a challenge in your internal psychology. Look at this. We have in the near future the Hermit energy. The Hermit is Virgo. Virgo's all about problem solving, is the landlord of the 6th house. So there's some sort of, if this has to do with career or money, it's time to step back and really analyze what's not working. You might feel like it's time to try a different approach or path. If this has to do with a relationship and you're single, you may be in this space where you're looking at past cycles, and looking at, what's gone on up to this point and what's the common denominator, because I don't want to keep making those mistakes. And for those of you who are in a relationship, you might be realizing that you need to dedicate a lot more energy and a lot more time to smooth over the issues that do need addressing. And maybe that they need to be addressed in a little bit of a different way. But there is this desire to problem solve. Now, we have that being clarified by the Death, though. Death is Scorpio, ruled by Pluto. So this is, this is a relationship energy. Let me give you several ways that this could be understood. It says it before you get scared, okay? This doesn't mean anybody's dying here. This could indicate a relationship ending, or at least there's a period of separation that's very necessary if the relationship is going to find its footing again in the future. Sometimes we just need some space to breathe in a relationship. So it could have to do with that. If the relationship has good bones, you guys could find each other again, but there's this need for necessary separation. If it doesn't have to do with that, this could indicate the possible ending of some sort of business connection or avenue of money. And even though things may be tough initially, this energy does indicate that there's definitely something new on the horizon for you. You just have to be patient. It's not in the far, far horizon. It's like right there. Now, if it has nothing to do with relationship and nothing to do with career or money, this could indicate that you're moving. Your living circumstances might change because you realize that where you are living no longer either meets your overall needs, is you're not able to stay there. There's something that's pushing you to move, right? And it's inciting a new beginning. So it's like the ending for the new beginning. Three of Cups, Nine of Swords, Queen of Cups, Hangman, Nine of Wands, King of Cups, Six of Wands. Very nice ending. So we have the Three of Cups, really nice, mutually supportive energy. Some of you might even be meeting a new person if you're in this space where you're stepping away from a relationship that feels really toxic. A lot of you could be meeting somebody new, because this is a three is a number of creation. It could certainly be that, but it's also a number of healing. So if you're in a space, and you're going to know if you are, where you're trying to heal a relationship, this is a very nice supportive energy for that. So you're in this space, though, of trying to heal, of trying to grow, but yet we have this Nine of Swords clarifying that. And I don't think you're really talking about it, right? I always feel like Mars and Gemini, the Nine of Swords, Mars and Gemini, I always feel like this is a very internal energy. Mars, right, that warrior energy in Gemini, which is all about that mental realm and communication. It's like asking these big questions. Am I doing the right thing? Do I belong here? Feeling very overwhelmed, very worried, not responding well to the external stress, because your way out of something isn't 100% clear. So you're really feeling a lot of anxiety because you're having this conversation about what it is that you need, keeping it real, having to do with your mental, physical, and emotional connection. Some of you may be in a space of feeling very vulnerable, and you're not feeling as grounded in something, in that job, in that relationship, in that situation that you would like to feel. But you have to have this conversation, even though Mercury's retrograde, even though all of that, you know what I mean? Mercury's retrograde in that 6th house, having to do with work, with your health. I totally get it. I do. But Cancer, which rules home and foundation, is in the 3rd house, which is a Gemini Mercury house. So you may be having a really hard time fully accessing what it is that you even feel like you need 100%. Like, what is it that you really, really want and need? And is from a job, from a relationship. Yeah, look, I mean, we could all just say, oh, well, I want money. Pay my bills, have a little something left over to have a little fun money, put some savings, right? What do you want in a relationship? I want somebody who's faithful and who knows how to communicate. I mean, there are those rote answers, but I mean for you, Taurus, for you personally. What matters to you? And a lot of that's going to have to do with your personal astrology, your personal chart, and just what matters to you. There's confusion here, for sure, because the Queen of Cups is being clarified by the Hangman, which is Neptune. Neptune is very smoke and mirrors, and it's like, okay, well, if I stay in this situation, am I going to end up martyring what I really want? Sacrificing what I really want. It's very sacrificial energy, Neptune, right? It's the ruler of the 12th house, of the hidden, of the subconscious. So it's also a very sort of like self-sabotaging energy. And you want to be very, very careful right now. Taurus, I'm saying this to everyone, not only to you. Be very, very careful of any sort of flippant decisions in this energy, because it's very, very hard to undo whatever it is that you do in this. If you're going to end something, it could be like a permanent kind of situation. So you want to be very, very careful. But it does seem like here with the Hangman, you're not sure. You're not sure. But it does seem like you still have fire in your belly for it. It's like not pushing you to the point where you're like, I'm done with this, right? You're in a strong position. You're tired because you're exhausted, because you've been dealing with some sort of situation for a while now, with a career issue or that relationship issue, maybe both, check and check, right? Could certainly be this. And you may be in this space temporarily, at least, where you're feeling very defensive. But you just want to make sure that you're not staying in any kind of like negative mindset, because that's not gonna help you. That's not gonna help you. In fact, that's gonna end up throwing you off balance, and you're gonna end up in a 10 of Wands energy, which is complete overwhelm. You don't want to do that. So, one day at a time kind of thing. Just try to maintain a balanced and careful approach to whatever's going on. Again, respond to things, don't react. But it does seem like there's really something that needs to be addressed here. There's no question. The King of Cups is a very beautiful energy, but it also does indicate that there's this need to settle a conflict, either within yourself about someone, or within yourself and or with someone else about a certain situation that's going on in a particular area of your life. And I feel like you're going to be able to do it, because look at the beautiful energy that's clarifying it. The Six of Wands in general is good news. And this is really beautiful conversation, positive communication, feelings being shared, well received, where there's realization of what the other person is going through, right? And if you listen to the astrology that I posted in the video, the astrology only video, most of us are going to be feeling like where we once felt like somebody was sort of like against us, even if we didn't want to say that, there's going to be this realization that even though we might not be on the same page, we're on the same side, right? And so that's a beautiful place to start, because we don't have to agree on everything, but there's got to be empathy and understanding and cooperation, right? As far as how something can be effectively followed through. But I feel like I'm getting like a very internal vibe for you guys for this week. Very internal, you know? And whatever it is, it's bringing you to a space of healing. There's no question, with that Chiron in the 12th house sitting opposite all of this energy, you know, having the Sun, Mars, Moon, Mercury, retrograde, Libra, all this energy. It's whatever's happening here in this energy, it's definitely going to be healing for you in the long term. So that is what I have for you there. And let's pull a couple of cards for those of you just more specific to relationship. We're going to do past, present, future, final outcome with clarifiers. Okay, yeah, very internal. Very internal. So in the recent past, we have the Six of Swords being clarified by the Seven of Swords. So I feel like some of you maybe ended something within relationship in the past because you felt like you were dealing with somebody who was giving you a lot of lip service and they weren't being very honest. They were being rather selfish. They were running away from the responsibility of the relationship. Some of you may have been dealing with that. Right now, we're dealing with the death energy. So some of you may be in separation right now. Okay. And then we have the King of Pentacles. So, you know, the situation may be, you may be in separation with somebody right now, Taurus, because somebody was a little greedy. It could have been that they were either funny with their money or they weren't willing to change in a way that was going to benefit the relationship. They were very, you know, digging their heels in kind of thing. That could be for many of you. For others of you in relationship, again, going back to the fact that the Death card could certainly indicate moving. So some of you may be in a space of moving, but you might be dealing with, when you're moving, as you're moving into this new space, into this new place with this person, where there's weirdness there, like with money or what they're willing to do or willing not to do. And there could end up being a little bit of friction there, not going to lie, because that can happen with the King of Pentacles energy. So there could be some friction about how things should roll out, who should pay for what, how should something go on, right? Having to do with a move, if it has to do, if you guys are not in separation. Now, we have the Hermit energy in the near future, and the Hermit energy is about problem solving. So for some of you, it's realizing that you want to get back together, because we have this Ace of Swords energy, which is beautiful for getting over past obstacles and getting what you want and thoughts becoming things, which is really, really nice. And I do feel like there are going to be a lot of lessons learned here, which is nice. But the Hermit energy being this problem solver, while you guys are apart, I feel like somebody is doing a lot of thinking about, you know, what were the cycles within the relationship, what kept coming up, what kept, you know, repeating itself, and really sinking one's teeth into that, whether it's you, whether it's them, it doesn't really matter. Remember, with the relationship reads, it's best to hear these messages holistically and apply them to your message as you see fit, because the energies are always way too entrenched. And I don't know your personal chart, but there is problem solving energy here, looking at the cycles and realizing that if things are going to be better moving forward, there's got to be a lot of energy put into really smoothing over whatever the issues are in order for you to have this Ace of Swords, which is this auspicious new beginning, and in order for you guys to think clearly and move forward in a way that you feel like is helpful and fair. And that's probably part of the lesson here in this world energy, is all it's a Saturn energy. So, and the world is the gift that you get after you have finished some sort of Saturnian energy, right? And I do like this, particularly just because we have, you know, that Saturn is going to finally be going direct. So I feel like some sort of lesson is going to be learned. It's going to be a lot more clear. Now, clarifying that is this Four of Cups. So what is this lesson? Is this idea of restlessness, of feeling apathetic, feeling disillusioned about a person, about a situation, and needing to get a lot more realistic about who can really effectively bring what to the table. And not you shouldn't be looking, and they shouldn't be looking to have a hole in your soul, or a hole in your life, or where you feel any sense of lack to be completed by them, and they should not be looking for you to complete it. I'm really getting very much an energy of things being equitable. And guys, we are getting ready for the North Node to move into your energy the second week of January. We're feeling it now. And it is this idea of things being equitable, things needing to be equitable in that Taurian energy. So, this idea of within the relationship, there needs to be interdependence and not codependence, right? The difference there. What I like here for the 3 qualifiers is, what do you feel? You being italicized, right? Being very focused on what is it that you really want, kind of going back to what we were talking about before, and referencing, though, this idea that something within this relationship is so much better than you even realize right now, right? There are many, many blessings that are going on. Also, even if you're in a space where you're having a hard time identifying those blessings within the relationship, there are other blessings in your life. Like, don't throw the baby out with the bathwater, and don't make your whole life about relationship. I'm not suggesting that you're doing that, but if by chance you're like, things are terrible because of my relationship, well, look at other things that are going on in your life. Right? We have the 9 of Water, and the 9 of Water is about happiness and manifesting wishes and feeling more connected to your own heart. And I feel like there's no way around this, Taurus. Like, whatever changes you're making, it has to speak to your own heart. It has to, because Uranus is in your first house. So these changes are moving you into the future, and you're not willing to not be happy. It doesn't mean that every single day throughout the year you're going to wake up and have a spring in your step and be happy. That's ridiculous. But where it's this, I feel like I'm with the right person, I'm with the right people, I'm in the right space in my life. That is going to be really important, because on a macro level, if you're feeling like there's an area or several areas in your life where you feel like you're trying to fit a circle in a square, that is only going to become tighter and tighter and tighter as we go into 2022. So it's just something for you to think about. And it doesn't mean to end anything. It just means that it's going to need addressing. So there might even be some miscommunication or something like that. And then you handle it however you see fit, obviously. At that point, we're only talking about the beginning of October. But anyway, my friends, those are the messages that I have for the first week of October. I hope this was helpful in some way. Thanks so much for hanging out with me, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.